Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, internet peeps, boys and girls. I am thinking about the times where I normally be at a bookstore on the first Wednesday of the month for community poetry at Half Price Books. And we can't be there right now because of quarantine, so I thought I would be around some books and some library shelves for myself right here and share poetry with you guys like I would on the normal, as I normally would on the first Wednesday of every month. I feel bad that I can't run it for you because Tom hosted it, not me, so in homage to how I would read for him every month at Half Price Books, I am sharing poetry from brand new book releases for you in this 2-hour span. I was also going to read a small section of poems for you from this brand new book released 2 days ago. You can buy it through Amazon. You don't have to leave your home. It is the May through August 2020 issues, and it is a 426-page book, mammoth anthology of poetry and prose called One with the Mountain. And because I can't get to the national parks right now, this is a great way to get some cool national park photography on a book cover. And I thought I would share with you a couple of poems, including event poems that are in a later section within this large volume, within the Death Waits Outside section of the cc&d collection book, One with the Mountain. And I hope you enjoy these poems. And this first one is called Opportunity from Freedom. And it is a poem that was written on and for the birthday of Robert G. Ingersoll on August 11th. He was born in 1833. So this is for that. So if you want a history lesson, you can learn about him as well. This poem is written for his birthday, and it's called Opportunity from Freedom. After fighting for freedom in this country, after fighting for freedom against slavery, the one thing I had to truly fight was the battle in my own mind. When I learned to finally think for myself, I was no longer a servant, a serf, or a slave, and that nature guided me and the world, not the ghosts and gods of myths. Once I freed my mind of the fantasy, this was true and real freedom. As servitude and slavery is one thing, but slavery of the mind is another. And myths are shackles and prison bars to your thoughts, forcing you to every fear or as fantastic as the fears that only the truly creative mind can even try to create. Now free your creative mind, because the beauty is that you have the control to release your shackles. When you do, then you will know what it means to truly be free. History lesson, you guys are gonna have to check out Robert Ingersoll. So I'm gonna learn about him. Sorry, there's not that much about this that I can put in this book. It's just poetry. So I would love it if you guys want to check these things out, which is a cool thing of all of these event poems, because it causes you to think about different things that happen throughout history as well, right? Because this one, the next poem I've got here was written on August 20th, on and for National Aviation Day. See, I told you, different themes. I hope you enjoy this one. This is called Just Who May Try to Stop Us. Recent plane crashes have caused many countries to ban the use of one model airplane. We had a flight planned and made sure it wasn't canceled because of the flight's scheduled plane. I think back to 9/11, the days of silence in the skies after the grounding of all aircraft, and just how spooky it was to look up at the sky and see no contrails, hear no engine roars above. Because it doesn't matter who may try to stop us, flight is in our blood. We may not have wings, but we always want the impossible. And since we were little, we'd get up on that swing. Push me faster. Push me harder. Let's go higher. I can now see across the world from here. So let's go. That was fun to read. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This next one, I love these changes and different themes because it totally changes from one piece to the next. This is a poem that's called Just to Craft, and it was written on August 2nd, which is National Poets Day. And I'm reading poetry. Crazy. You'd think I planned it. I didn't, but there you have it. This is a poem from the Death Waits Outside section of cc&d's May 2, August 2020 issue collection book, One with the Mountain. Yay, One with the Mountain. Sorry. Yay. This is called Just to Craft for National Poets Day. Can it be taxing to try to wax poetic? The task is taxing and traumatic, spilling the ills of the downtrodden, relaying the pains of a nation, feeling the grievances of a people. For all self-proclaimed poets know they have no choice but to immerse themselves, to wallow in the feelings of all, just to work, just to craft, just the right words so everyone can relate to it, that everyone can feel the emotion from, that can change people as a whole. This is the lifetime goal and the lifetime task they are all challenged with, just to work, to slave. And in this case, slave is no understatement because they slave just to save. They are forced in every moment to feel the full realm of everything that can happen to everyone, so that at the drop of the hat they can just try to wax poetic and about the joy and the pain, because they have no choice. They slave just to save, just to make people think, just to make a difference. It's a daunting task, and no serious poet takes this task lightly. Anyone from Shakespeare to Edgar Allan Poe to Charles Bukowski understands this, because it is our choice to live and die by the written word, as it should be. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you're ready for the next one, because guess what? It's going to sound entirely different. That's what happens when you come up with different events for different things, because this next one is actually titled Effigy. A lot of stuff happened on this one date, and it's all in really, really tiny print, but I'm going to try to read it for you. It was written on August 28th for the 1955 day the black teenager Emmett Till was actually brutally murdered by a lynching, galvanizing the civil rights movement. It's also the same day in 1957 when U.S. Senator Strom Thurmond filibustered to prevent the voting rights on the Civil Rights Act in 1857. And in 1863, on the same day, so much happened on this day. And in 1863, that was the day of the March on Washington for Jobs and Opportunity that actually culminated with Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. All of these things happened on the same day, August 28th, different years, but that just blows my mind. And so, I just have a tiny little poem about it for you. See if you can try to put it all together. This, in light of all of that, is a poem titled Effigy. When it gets hot like this, when the summer drags on, then is when you wonder when heat and pain will end. It's as if a fire has been set to the entire land, and this fire is within the hearts of men, still set out to do you in. Low winds come across the plains, rustling leaves and anything hanging from trees, and after this heat that you've suffered through for far too long, all you can see are your brothers hanging from those trees in effigy. And when we fight, we even use your rules, and still you will do everything in your power to stop us from having the rights we have always deserved. It may take years for us to come together and truly try to make an end and make real change. But even when we agree that we should all be free, the blockades we think are forever down will still remain. We want to be free, and we will always fight. But we will always feel the flames on our backs as we face the wind. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've got 2 more for you. And I'll start with a longer one and a shorter one. And of course they're on crazy different themes because I can't just stay with one theme for too long. This is from the Me Too section of poetry for the Death Waits Outside section of the cc&d May to August 2020 issues collection book, One with the Mountain. And it is titled, Keep Looking Happy. Keep Looking Happy. And it's actually written on August 26th, which is the 1920 date the U.S. 19th Amendment was actually certified. That actually gave women a right to vote. So, now you know where this is going. This is Keep Looking Happy. Women, in theory, should feel pleased when we win battles for our rights. So, whatever women do, you keep looking happy. That's what we women have to do in this eternal uphill battle. When this country was founded, it was land-owning white men who voted. 50 years before we women gained that right, white men decided that black men, men once slaves or descendants of slaves, black men once considered 3/5 of a person, they got the right to vote 50 years before us women. I get it. I get it. I shouldn't be so pessimistic. I shouldn't look so negatively at battles we've had to fight so hard to win. I shouldn't think that our only male options to vote for, they decide our fate. They make personal choices for us women that we have the honor to vote for. And I understand. We've come a long way, baby. But we women once couldn't even attend college. And even if we'd had such a long history of caring for your house, your food, your children, and understanding finances so much more explicitly than you. And yes, us women are running for offices while we're still so underrepresented. And we still face that uphill climb. So yes, we'll keep voting. Thank you for that honor. But because before you know it, we'll have made some changes that you didn't even see coming. Because really, when we're done, well, you'll see that laws that the rest of the world agrees with, laws treating women as equals, that kind of treatment isn't so unreasonable after all. Isn't it amazing? The rights that people have to fight for, and you're like, this seems like that's obvious. The rest of the world thinks this is obvious. Why are you having to still fight this, you silly people? But then again, we say that about any different culture, I guess. Anyway, good times. Then one final piece, and you can see this tiny little piece, this big in the bottom of the page, because there's prose. There is a tiny little bit of room for a piece of prose-like poetry that fits right at the end of a piece of prose that is called Violent Endeavour. It was actually written on August 18th, and it was for the 1967 date of the first space probe that actually entered another planet's atmosphere, and that's the Soviet Venera 4 that actually landed on Venus. So this tiny little guy is the end piece I'm going to share with you. And it obviously says something about how you feel about, well, I guess the Soviets at the time. This is called Violent Endeavour. We were in a mad race to see who would get there first. We wanted to try something entirely different, not knowing it would be such a violent endeavor that indicated how we'd soon destroy each other. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed reading poetry or hearing poetry from different sections of the cc&d May to August issues 2020 issues collection book called One with the Mountain. I hope you've enjoyed it. You can find it on Amazon or find it through scars.tv. Thank you very much for listening. I hope everyone out there in the literary world is staying poetically inclined and literary. I hope everyone is staying safe, and I want everyone to know that you are loved and hang in there. We will talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.